Am I a man or am I a Muppet? Am I a Muppet?
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and oh boy, things are gonna get very spicy. Now, I'm recording this video at 4 o'clock on Wednesday because I've got a guest editor, a little guy. I want to give him a little extra time to get used to the soul-crushing workflow that my other editor, Sean, has to deal with, and he'll be here helping us out for the next 3 weeks. And, well, back in September, all the buzz was around the first female 007, and allow me to frame what I think is the fans' perspective versus the media's perspective on this. The fandom feels like, look, if you want a female super spy 007, start your own franchise, put in the work. Don't just swap it and expect everyone to be okay with it. And the media represented that as angry neckbeards don't like women. They want to keep women out of everything, even though that, of course, wasn't the case at all. That's really been the misrepresentation of original fandoms by the media since the beginning of this channel. It's like we're fighting the exact same thing. To be clear, I don't have any problem with a female super spy movie. I'm sure there are some that exist. I mean, technically, Black Widow might qualify as that, and I'm excited to see that film, even though it feels a little like a holdover movie. But I'm still excited to see it. I'm still excited to support the actress, and there's nothing wrong with that. The pushback comes from people who know, look, 007 is James Bond. I know this is controversial, so James Bond is a man, and he will always be a man. And all the articles back in the New York Post running, first look, female 007 Lashana Lynch on James Bond set. The new 007 has finally been spotted in action. Like, this article is presenting it like fact, okay? British actress Lashana Lynch made headlines in July when rumors broke that she was taking over James Bond's iconic designation in what was hyped as a, quote, popcorn dropping moment. And if you remember that, originally they had the Daily Mail, the black woman who inherits 007's title, Bond star Lashana Lynch, looks fierce as she's pictured for the first time in the No Time to Die set in Italy. It was revealed in July that Lashana Lynch will take on the 007 code name. The actress, 31, was pictured on set for the first time on Wednesday in Italy, and that's just kind of how things went. Now, this is nothing against Lashana Lynch. She was in she's been in many movies and appears to be a solid actor. Will probably do excellent work in the James Bond film. But the internet pushed back and said that, look, James Bond isn't a woman. It never has been a woman. And just because you want to have your articles or have your headlines to appease Twitter. And look, also by all reasonable accounts, the 007 franchise, I think, has seen a bit of revival lately, but it's still not super relevant. It's popular, but I think if there were more frequent movies, you know, people would be into them. I like Daniel Craig as 007. I've liked most of the 007s in my era. I basically lived through what Pierce Brosnan, Daniel Craig, both excellent, I thought. The movies themselves have to stand on their own, which they haven't always, but nonetheless, this latest Bond film is something I'll probably watch at home. I wasn't planning on going to the theater with it. But now a new article drops that is likely to stir up an insane amount of rage because facts and because of who said it. So we can look at the fandom, Get Fandom tweet saying, hashtag No Time to Die producer, Barbara Broccoli? Broccoli? I'm going to give her broccoli instead of broccoli. I don't know. I'm not sure if broccoli's spelt that way, so we're going to go with, what did I say? Broccoli? We're going to go with broccoli. Says James Bond can be a person of color, but not a woman. Quote, he's a male. I believe we should be creating new characters for women. Strong female characters. Oh my God. That is a absolute savage statement. And the best part is, it's coming from not only a woman, but a woman that works on the show. So in a lot of ways, she's insulated from a lot of the feedback. Now, there will be takes, of course, calling her a closet misogynist and things like that. Obviously, the responses, of course, are mostly talking about Broccoli and Moneypenny and things like that. But she is right. I mean, this is the issue. Like, a lot of people talked about Idris Elba being James Bond, which is fine. I think he's an excellent actor. But look at how the LA Times framed it. James Bond producer 007 can be any color, but never a woman. A woman is at the helm of the James Bond film franchise, but 007 will never be a woman as long as she's in charge. Oh, she's about to get... I hope she doesn't have any spicy tweets, any hot takes from her childhood, because you can be sure that people will be digging those up in attempts to cancel her. In an interview with Variety, released Wednesday, Barbara Broccoli, who inherited control of the spy saga with her half-brother Michael G. Wilson in the 90s, shared her thoughts that the next Bond could look like. And while she's open to some diversification, a female Bond is where she draws the line. He can be any color, but he is male, she told Variety. I believe we should be creating new characters for women, strong female. I love that someone in Hollywood actually said this. This is literally the crux of what, like, the Comicsgate movement was. And a lot of what this Hollywood gender bending. At the crux of, if we go all the way back to the monstrosity that was Ghostbusters 2016, that was a lot of the feedback. It's like, yo, you want to call yourself Ghostbusters and ignore all of the lore and say that you're going to stand on your own, why don't you just call it something different then? Why don't you make a female ghost hunting or ghost busting film then? Why'd you call yourself Ghostbusters? It's like you wanted your money, but you didn't want to give any credit or any respect the initial cast and all the lore and all the hard work that those before you put in. So people, understandably, submitted some level of backlash to that. The article continues, I'm not particularly interested in taking a male character and having a woman play it. Oh no! Stop! Stop! Something tells me that Miss Broccoli is going to be sitting on a park bench somewhere one day, and something mysterious might happen to her if she keeps talking like this. She continues, I think women are far more interesting than that. Ooh, nice save. Now, look, that's the thing. The core issue I have with gender bending is, as I've always said, look, why not just create a new character? Why do you have to make changes to an existing character to push an agenda? Or for, even if you want to agree with, hey, maybe there's no agenda here. Maybe it's just, I don't know, they wanted to try something different. Okay, that's cool, but you don't need to take... like, we're going to have female Thor, right? Allegedly. Now, we know that Marvel likes to float out all these crazy headline-grabbing stuff, and then it ends up being like an afterthought in the movies. Now, Jane Lynch does exist, lore-wise, but, you know, that's a little more complex than a 007 where you're saying, well, it's never been a woman, but now it will be because... And that's not enough reason for me to get behind something. And then when you read a lot of these articles that are basically trashing anyone who doesn't like it as calling them all sorts of terrible things, well, then that makes you even more against it. The article continues. In the buzz leading up to the spring release of the next Bond film, No Time to Die, many speculated that, quote, Captain Marvel actress, oh, that's where she's from. She plays a co-star in Captain Marvel. That's where I recognize her from. I should have known. Lashana Lynch would succeed Daniel Craig as the sophisticated MI6 agent amid a flurry of rumors sparked by her casting. The first official trailer for the highly anticipated sequel did eventually confirm Lynch's new status as the new 00, but not that 00. The world's moved on, Commander Bond, Lynch's Naomi tells the veteran operative in the trailer, so stay in your lane. Get in my way and I'll put a bullet in your knee. Another female newcomer to the series, Knives Out breakout Anna de Armas, recently told the LA Times that she looked forward to playing a different kind of Bond girl who is proof that of the franchise's progress. That's been a whole thing too. No Bond girls. Yeah, well, that's kind of been part of the movies since the beginning of time. Now, if you want to erase that for ideological reasons, then don't whine when people stop seeing your movies. She is flawed. She says what she feels. She is nervous. She is scared. It's human. She said of her character, Paloma. When I read it, I was like, oh, wait, I could be a Bond girl. I'm that messy. That's what felt so attractive. Judging by Broccoli's recent statements, it's safe to say that a promotion in 007 isn't and never was in the card for Lynch or de Aramis. However, the producer was open to evolving the brand in other ways. While the Bond films so far have always debuted in theaters, she entertained the idea of future installments potentially landing on streaming service like Netflix. You know, there was a time in modern cinema where going straight to VHS was like a rip. You know, it was like, oh, it wasn't good enough to be in the theaters. But nowadays, people are pursuing that, I think, because it gives them more creative freedom. They can just release it. Anyone can watch it. And Netflix pays gigantic sums of money up front for it. You know, a new Bond series that is very good and high production might be something totally interesting to me. So she goes on to say, I'm in total denial. She told Variety, I've accepted what Daniel has said, but I'm still in denial. It's too traumatic for me. And then she said that of Daniel Craig's retirement. I mean, he couldn't go on and play Bond forever. And it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure there will be unending articles about this in the mainstream and sub-mainstream press, because of course this will be a slight against women, and it'll be that, oh, she's a closet misogynist and things like that. But I view this as being respectful to the source material and understanding what your fans actually want. For a female super spy movie to exist, I 100% support that. Like I said, the closest thing we're going to get is probably this summer via Marvel with the Black Widow movie. And I bet you, shockingly, lots of men will probably see that too. So good on you for standing up. I hope this doesn't end too badly for you. We'll talk to you again real soon.